2 points. We have to work together to figure this out. We have to work together as a community to figure this out and to set a plan together in addressing this. One of my greatest fears, and this was asked of me when we had our SEIU interview, was what is my greatest fear for Berkeley employees? My greatest fear for Berkeley employees is that CalPERS will become insolvent and that we will not be able to keep the promises that we've made to our employees. And in order to ensure that we can, we need to start addressing this long-term benefit liability, which means we need to start setting aside every year some money to pay it down. It can't be done all at once again. It has to be part of an entire package that we're addressing as a community, and that includes much more than just this, but it's how we're going to plan for our future, how we're going to develop revenues to increase revenues, that piece of it, how we're going to run more efficiently, and how we're going to address and cut this debt. Thanks.
I think that we have to deal with the reality that our city spends a lot of money in bureaucracy. We need to cut out the bureaucracy, stop spending money in bureaucracy, and really allow the city to operate more functionally. I think that will help make sure that our future is secured, and I think that that can create a positive change for our city.
Yes, one of the points, we were out at the Tribune building, which basically wanted to talk just about economics, and what they didn't want to hear is the proposal I had. And we have an overpaid, overstaffed police department that basically couples with the university, which basically, you know, you have 100 murders over here and the OPD starts at 80 grand, and you have 4 murders over here and they started 120,000. So you have, I don't know if you've ever seen how many police we have around here. Some of our elders called them drama mamas, you know, and so there are tough cuts to be done here, and there are certain, the police cost what, over 50% of the city's budget? Wow, wow, that is amazing. Really, take a look at it. And the police are that expensive in this city. And so you need to draw down on that police department.
Well, the first part of the question about can't we work together, I think some people are sort of scared because we, the candidates, are sort of working together. And they're scared when I say, wow, I really like Jacqueline's, points about fiscal responsibility and transparency. And I really like Khalil's points about youth and education and art and music and all these different things. And so I think the candidates for mayor are actually sort of working together and respecting each other, at least most of us. In terms of the fiscal responsibility part of the question, I pretty much gave you more than $1 billion worth of solutions the last time I talked about the budget, having a program budget, having a rainy day fund, eliminating millions of dollars in overtime, having a whistleblower ordinance, ending the $225,000 severance fee, having the climate action plan, which has 335 nice ideas, instead of throwing millions of dollars at it and doing things randomly, having a cost effectiveness analysis of which things actually make sense and are environmentally and cost effective. Thank you.
Okay, Kriss will be the first one up because they've all had turns. Being the first one up, this is the last question. Okay.
Okay, this is about Measure S. Do you consider effective use of city and police resources to enforce this law when we already have laws on the books to deal with the problems, situations, and so that we don't criminalize people who only crime is being poor?
No. This measure will simply divert police resources from other important things like violent crime. The ACLU sued us last time in 1994. It cost us almost $250,000 the last time they sued us. How much is it going to cost us for lawyers this time? There are practical alternatives. The business community has been begging the city to let them have retail stores put a table in front of their bookstore and sell books. The CD stores want to put a table in front of their stores and sell CDs. What a radical concept. Piedmont and San Jose do it every day, and the world hasn't fallen apart. But in Berkeley, they'll get cited. We need to actually do practical economic development things, not measure S&T, which are sort of being forced on the community, draconian things. We need to actually do practical economic development things that help the whole community. Thank you.
It's ridiculous. I actually want people to be sitting around everywhere. The shutting down of Telegraph from Dwight Way to Bancroft and putting benches out there, not just ghostly putting them out there and then taking them away and saying, look, the homeless people. A friend of mine whose nephew, a barber boxer, said to me, and this is really powerful, those kids up on Telegraph are well behaved considering the world we put them in. And so, you know, I don't fear those kids that are up there. We've dealt them a really bad hand. And shutting down Telegraph and maybe giving them a part-time job to basically come up just a little bit, maybe that's the answer.
I think we all stand in solidarity against Proposition S. We know that it's not a way to address the issues of marginalized communities. We know that young people need more cultural centers. We know that they need help learning how to create a resume. As a teacher, that's what I do with my students. I teach now in West Oakland. I taught at Berkeley High. I taught at East Campus when it was called that. The reality is that they need skills. They need to be seen as human beings. They need to be given opportunities, and that's what's going to create a better Berkeley.
And I know we all agree on this, because we cannot take resources out of our neighborhoods and put them downtown Berkeley to give somebody a ticket for $75 who can't pay for the ticket and will end up in the system, and therefore will be in a constant spiral downward and never be able to get themselves back on solid ground. That's ridiculous. And we know that if this measure passes, there will be selective enforcement on this. We will be targeting youth downtown, and we will not be looking at people and sitting, you know, out in front of the cheese board. So it's ill-conceived. It was put in place by special interests. It's not something that we should be even talking about here, not in my Berkeley at least. And Michael, you and I have talked about this. We know that we need to do more work on connecting the dots on our social service programs so we can provide the services that these people need, but more importantly, we need places for these people to sleep and live. And affordable housing is a piece of it, but inclusionary housing is also a piece of it, and we need to provide both in any new development project that comes up.
You know, I agree with giving mostly kids. I mean, I talk to them. I really feel for them. And so I want to find a solution. And I think these groups that have sprung up in San Francisco and other places that have worked with them, but also, you know, we want to feel good, but it's also hurting businesses downtown. I'm against S. I'm on the fence. I don't think S is the solution. I think we should put resources in to get those kids off the street, to give them something useful to do. I almost want to give them vouchers for food or whatever they need if they do a task. I don't want to just give charity away, but I want to give people an opportunity. And I think we should look very closely at programs that have worked and what we can do as a society and as a city to both help the youth that are coming to Berkeley, and also that's going to help people have their businesses there, employ the youth. A lot of the businesses will come, will employ these youth. So I think in ways we can solve both problems at the same time.
Okay, I want to thank you for this portion of the debate. Now we're going to have our summations from the candidates. They've already drawn how they're going to be in order. We're going to give you only a minute and a half because you had a minute before. So think, Bernd, why should we elect you and what can you offer us?
Well,
2 minutes because the mayor
should we do 2 minutes?
The mayor had 3 minutes.
Okay, then you've got to help us. You've got to help us put chairs away.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so
we got to be out of here by 9:30.
By 9:30.
So any further discussions with candidates can be done outside the sidewalks, and then the rest can help us.
And I'm going to help clean up right now.
And we can still sit on the
maybe I won't. So proceed. 2 minutes. The people have spoken.
So one of the great privileges in life was to be able to teach at UC Berkeley. And I think it's a great institution. I know the city and the university often have conflicts, but I also think there's a great source of resources. And I see my students and other students being the future. And I think as a city, we want to create an environment that we are proud of and that we can give to our future generations. And so there's a lot of exciting things that are happening about the future. Using technology for things where it's appropriate, solving some of the problems we have, like in environmental issues and how we get around, and thinking really, what kind of city do we want to live in, and how are we all going to work together? And so what I bring to the table is really the use of the things that I know, and that's things like technology, putting tracers in stolen bicycles so we know who's stealing them so kids will ride their bike and adults. Creating systems where, with urban planning, for instance, the cheese board has all these people there that sit on the median. What's the city's solution? Put out a sign that says, don't sit on the median. Does that work? No. So let's have the urban planners figure out how we can extend the parking structure so people during the lunchtime can sit down, enjoy their pizza, and then when lunchtime is over, it goes back to being a parking spot. These are all like the simple things, but in aggregate, they can have a lot of impact. And so what I want to do is get the people who are having the problems and really talk about what are the appropriate solutions. And you know, some of them might be small, some of them might be big, and the reason that I'm running is basically to share ideas and basically encourage people to do the same thing, start businesses here, build a community that people want to be a part of, and really think about what are we going to leave to our children. Thank you.
Okay, who's number two? Oh, Kriss.
It's time for a mayor who will tackle the difficult, practical problems that I've been talking about and have some solutions to put on the table. I have put numerous solutions for every single problem that I put out there. If we don't tackle parking citations, parking and traffic and transit issues, all this talk about bringing in new revenue, it ain't gonna happen if you don't fix how people are going to get to the stores in order to spend the money. If we don't fix the dysfunctional permit service center process and stop the trickle-down development philosophy and replace it with true community development benefits where the public knows what they're going to get in affordable housing and open space, then we'll keep having the same kinds of problems we have now. It's time for a mayor who will, the mayor is a ceremonial figurehead. But the council members get dragged along by the incumbent into doing bad things. We need a mayor who will treat the public with respect, fix the dysfunctionality of city council meetings, move controversial issues to a separate night and in a bigger room if necessary, so everybody gets to come and have their say. If someone thinks it's impossible to conduct business, we need somebody who knows that it's possible to conduct our business fairly and respectfully of everyone, and I hope out of all of us, you can find at least 3 people that you think can find that it's possible to conduct our business in a positive, progressive way in Berkeley. It's time for a new mayor. Thank you.
Number 3.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for putting this event on. I know it's late, and it really shows me that South Berkeley cares, that our community really wants to be a part of this democratic process, that traditionally a lot of times we are not invited to the table. We are not given the same resources that other parts of the city are given. So it is an honor to run for mayor of this city and represent a different vision. As a person who's bilingual, as a person who's a man of color, as a person who has been a teacher for 20 years, as somebody who was a youth commissioner with Kriss Worthington, fought on the Peace and Justice Commission, as somebody who represents a new generation of citizens who want to see real solutions for our city. It has been an honor working with these other mayoral candidates because we are all trying to fight for a change. And we want to see a change in our city that reflects all the people of our city, the diversity that it truly has. So I really feel that we have potential this year. It's a very important year. We're registering new voters. We're trying to reach out to Latino voters who have never voted. We're trying to reach out to marginalized communities, to people who have never felt that they've had a voice. It's an opportunity for our city to see a change for the better, and I'm honored to be a part of that process. We need to continue struggling to build a city that reflects the people and that is willing to fight and engage to create change that we all need to see. Thank you very much.